is Axel Paxel back with another video. This is going to be a slightly different video tutorial. This picture was actually sent to me by one of my Patreon supporters, and I wanted to give this person some feedback as to how I would treat this going into the painting of it. He wanted it to be somewhat non-metallic metal. So I'm going to show how light would reflect on this piece of weapon, this axe. And this is actually kind of interesting because the same principles apply, even though I'm painting it in a painting program. This would be painted similarly in like real life. So here I'm filling in the base color. I'm treating this part of the axe differently than the other parts because, well, when it comes to axes, you kind of have to treat the blade edge a little bit different than you would a sword. So here I'm making in some very rough highlights. And you can do this in a similar style as me here. You don't have to worry about the blends being like super smooth at this point, because you can fix this later with a glaze. Right now I'm blurring the edges, as you can see, and you can do this actually with when you are painting as well. You just mix the highlight color and the base color. In my case, that's dark gray and light gray. You mix those two together, add water into that mix, and then you paint along the edge very smoothly. And then the edge will start to blur, just like you see here. So now you can see that the reflections on the blade, the axe edge, is actually starting to look quite nice. I'm also adding in a little bit of different colors into the metal. You don't want to use pure gray tones, like a mix of black and white, because the metal will appear like a little bit too cartoony. There's no metal that does not contain other colors. So I would recommend, if you're mixing your own color, mix in a little bit of blue into the white and black mix, and that will tint it a little bit to the cold side. I've also added a little bit of dark green into the metal parts, and I think this will enhance the look of the metal and make it appear a little bit more like it would in real life, as if something is actually being reflected from the area around the blade itself. So actually this is my first video where I'm going through like painting techniques in a different manner. And I'm anxious, I'm curious, of course, to hear what you actually think of it. So give me some feedback if you want me to continue making these sorts of videos. I can do that. Of course, all my patrons get the opportunity to send me their pictures of their paint jobs, and I will give them feedback. And this is just one of the ways that I want to continue giving feedback, because it makes more sense like seeing it like visually like this rather than in text. And I think that it may helps a little bit more, perhaps. So here I'm going through the same steps. You can see that I put in the base color first, and then the highlight, and then I blur the edge between them. You can do this with a brush as well. You just have to make sure that you mix the tones together in order to create a third color, and then you add more water, and then you paint along the edge where the transition between the two colors go. Of course, this takes a little bit of time, of course, painting like this. So if you don't get it right on the first try, keep trying, and eventually you will get it. So I should call out my newest patron supporter as well, Nick Barbian. Thank you so much for actually supporting me in continuing to make these video tutorials. I appreciate it a lot, and yeah, I hope you find some use in my videos as well as the rest of you, my followers on Patreon. I should mention that there's also a free miniature giveaway for all my patrons, and I don't have a lot of patrons at the moment, so the estimated worth for this miniature is around $45, including US dollars, including shipping. And everyone actually has a fair chance to win as of now. So if you're not one of my patrons, you can check it out on my page. Link is in the description. Okay, so here I'm doing some edge highlighting. This is actually very easy. You only need a brush with a very fine tip, and then you paint along the edges of the blade itself. You should add a little bit of water into this mix because, as you can see, it does stand out a little bit too much. So I'm going to tone that down, but yeah, add a little bit of water to it so it has a layer consistency. So now I'm adding some scratches. You can do this as well with a brush with a very fine tip. Just create some lines with your brush, and then you paint under with a layer consistency. It could be a white color, but it needs to be a layer consistency, not too bright, because if you paint with pure white, it will look very unnatural, which you want to avoid. So the lines actually go on the white lines, or semi-off-white lines go beneath the black lines, and that will give the illusion of actually the metal being cracked, which I kind of like the look of. So here I'm just doing more of the same actually, and then it's the three base colors actually, and all of these colors actually has a great deal of, or not a great deal, but some blue to it as well. If you only were to paint with black and or gray tones with no blue, it would not look that good. So now it's actually starting to come together. The part in the middle is a little bit different compared to the rest because it has an oval shape. So, and the way light hits this object in real life is that more light will hit the center part of the cylinder form. Sorry. So the left and the right portions of the cylinder form will be more black, and you will see this as I paint along. You always have to keep in mind the shape of the form that you are painting non-metallic metal on. If you don't, then it will look unnatural. So this is a cylinder form, and more light would catch it in the middle. You can use the same techniques here. You fill in the main colors, and then you blur the edges with your mid-tone, which should have a layer consistency. I will cover this technique more in my future, like real, where I paint for real and not use a program to do that. But I will show you the exact method in doing so. But this video is more like for you to get a basic understanding of how light could reflect off of this axe. All right, so we're nearing the end of the video right now, actually. And yeah, give me some feedback on if you want to see more videos like these. I could make these like every once in a while, and yeah, keep sending me your photographs. I want to give you a feedback. Okay, so I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.